about experiences that I could only dream of, not just because of how funny they are, but because Dr. Dali is an incredibly knowledgeable and gifted church historian. I had to exercise a lot of self-control this morning. He asked me to print off his notes, and I noticed some things on his flash drive that were church history related. And as my mouse hovered over them, I very much wanted to click and see what he had there. But he is also a very gifted teacher. And so as I invite him to the front this morning to share with us, I know that you all will be incredibly blessed by what he has to bring. Thank you.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters in the Lord.
Morning.
I bring you greetings from our brethren in Nigeria, even though we have left Nigeria almost for a month now. But whenever we are out, they usually send us with a greetings that wherever we meet our brethren, we should extend their greetings to them. So we are bringing that greetings. Before we continue, shall we pray? Lord our God, we want to thank you especially for this morning that we are able to come together as your children. And as we gather this morning, we acknowledge your presence with us. So Lord, we want to listen to you. You speak to us in your own way. Help us to learn things that you want us to know about you, about ourselves, so that we will live in this world as a true witness, true children. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Let me begin by thanking Pastor Michael, who have hosted us, treated us very well, as if we don't want to leave Maryland again. Thank you, and his wife and the children. We love them. We like to be together with them. They remind us of our grandchildren at home. And thank you also for the fellowship we had yesterday, and for even coming to this time for worship together. Anytime I have chance to visit any congregation of the Church of the Brethren in the state, I take it as an opportunity to express my appreciation for what they have done to the Church of the Brethren in Nigeria during the most difficult time we have faced in the history of the church. It happened during my time, as you heard yesterday. I started my work with the headquarters 2011. That was when the terrorists was intensifying their attack in the northeast. And Church of the Brethren happened to be predominantly in the northeast, particularly in Borno, the headquarters of the terrorists, Yobe and Adamawa State. So the attack, the most affected church in the whole of the country is UIN Church of the Brethren. And when it happens, we were devastated, thinking that was the end of us. And there was no help that we could rely on that could comfort us. And we thought that is it. Until, miraculously, Church of the Brethren sent the delegates to Nigeria during that difficult time to be together with us to discuss and plan how to get out of the situation. And as you know, 70% of the denomination was completely destroyed. So we had nothing to actually even to revive or to get ourselves out of the situation. Therefore, the brethren here understood that we have nothing. So they decided that they will take the whole responsibility of fishing us out of the situation in the stage of recovery. And so they really contributed massively, because as I have known, it has never happened in the history of the Church of the Brethren. And that has brought us together. But because of what the members of the Church of the Brethren have done in the state here to support Iwan, even though they don't know some of those people, it is because of that that we were able to see a light in the darkness where we were, and also have a hope that is not the end. There is still a chance for the future. So we revive out of that and begin to be stronger and look more forward to a better things. And today we are recovering strongly with a much hope, with a strong faith because of what you have done. So you are part of our strength, our recovery, our resilience in Nigeria today. You may not know, but each one of you have contributed. Even as we said, even children, we heard how they were sympathetic and they contributed. And yesterday we have even seen the evidence. After they discussed talking, a small boy came and put out the money he has in his pocket and give it. See that kind of heart. He feel about it. So people feel about it here. So thank you so much, because if not because of you, only God knows what would have been of the Church of the Brethren in Nigeria. We may not be a denomination anymore, but because of you, we have now stood very strong. So thank you so much, and we pray that God will bring us more and more together, not in crisis, but even in love and peace. We will be together as a global church again. So thank you.
Amen.
We read Ephesians. It's not my favorite, I thought, to pastor. But since the pastor asked me to share something about it, I said, okay, I will be also a listener. I will share and then learn from it. We read about Ephesians. Finally, that was the statement we made. It's a letter, a huge letter, from chapter 1 to chapter 6. And when you hear, finally, you read a final part of the letter, it's hard sometimes to understand. Because if you don't know what happened in the beginning, and the person said finally, and then towards verse 13, he said, put on the armors of God, the whole armor of God. Why? Get ready for battle. Why? This is unbrethren, because we are not supposed to prepare for battle. We're supposed to prepare for peace. But that's what we are reading. So why is this? Well, that's why I want to take time. I will do once. I am very always cautious. That's one of the things I'm learning here in the state, preaching, not like Nigeria. In Nigeria, we take 2 hours. Here, I have to be cautious of how much time I need to spend. So, I mean, before I reach to that, finally, I want to just briefly say, Ephesus, a church in Asia Minor, or a country in Asia Minor, probably in Turkey, where there is no Christian today. This is a very strong, as I read through the history of this particular area, is a very big country in their own time at that time, very rich with culture, with a different kind of people, with a lot of commercial trade, and it has a very big library, very big medical college, with a renowned medical doctors, and it has a huge temple for Diana, the goddess, which from all over the Mediterranean Sea, people come to worship in that chapel. And then there are also other shrines of other religion, especially mystery religion. And so a lot of magic also. So the life of the community, all there were very much influenced by the life and situation of that area. When I read it, it looks like US. US, very commercial, the richest country in the world, with the best medical facilities, and you have all kinds of things that is described here. Very good country, of course. And then we had, when Paul first visited that area, he struggled with those people, because when he was preaching, he preached against some of those commercial interests, because Demetrius, a magician, who used to manufacture idols and selling and getting money. And when Paul spoke about it, he provoked the whole community against Paul, trying to fight Paul. So the problem with Christians there, even though if you read, in spite of all this rich area, if you read the first 7 letters to the church in Asia Minor, the first letter was that to Ephesus. And the community, the Christians described in that community, they will say they are very good Christians, hardworking Christians, persevering Christians. And they persevere in their faith, even though they were persecuted by the situation we have seen. And they were very loving, they loved other brothers and sisters. Very good Christians, committed. They don't even take every preacher. Before they accept you to be a preacher or teacher, they must screen you carefully to make sure you are not a false teacher. They maintain a pure doctrine. A good Christian. This sounds like any brethren in the state. But something went somewhere. That as normal situation when you live in a society like Ephesus, a mixture of culture, mixture of tribe, they had a problem. The first thing that letter was accusing them of was that they lost their love and passion for Christ. They lost their initial love, their dedication and passion for Christ, they lost it. And then there was racist tension. Jewish Christian and Gentile Christian were quarreling. And there were also other temptation from materialism. Some of them wanted to go back to their early life, to live like the way people have been living, like the way their culture have been living. So Christians were tempted by the culture, by the life people were living. And that's why they lost their love. And they lost their passion for Christ. So they tolerate almost everything. It's okay, no problem. They didn't like to be Christian, but they just say it's okay to be like the other normal people. They just tolerated whatever was happening around their country and in the family. Paul said, remember, because Paul got a report. Remember, you Christians there, God has initially selected you from among this community. And he has accepted you as his children and marked you with the seal of the Holy Spirit as his own. And so he saved you from this situation. I know initially you were in that line even before you were Christian. You were Christian. If you read chapter 2, I know how you are. You were living this kind of life before. Don't forget. And it was from this life that Jesus Christ, God, out of his grace, out of his mercy, pulled you out and made you a new community, a member of his family. Now, we have new identity because as people who have been pulled out of that culture, we are not the same anymore. We have a new identity, even though we are in the same community. He said our identity is that we are saved. We are saved people. We are not sinners anymore. We are not condemned people. We are saved people, people with salvation. And then we are also children of God. We are children of God, made and created in Jesus Christ for a good work within our community. And Christ has made peace with God for us. Therefore, we are not the enemy of God anymore. We are God's friend. Because Christ has reconciled us to God and made peace between us and God. So we are freely can come to God as his children at any time we want. He has brought us together one body. We are not divided anymore. Yes, in the culture, we are divided. Some are from Germany, some are from France, some are from Sweden. That's how our culture is. If you go to Nigeria, tribal. But he says Christ has pulled you out of this society and made you together. You are now single body. Because if we have one father, one mother, we must be one. And therefore, we are one. So therefore, he said, you are no longer stranger, which is a popular message of the Church of the Brethren when they founded Church of the Brethren in Nigeria. Therefore, you are no longer strangers. But what? But members, citizens of God's kingdom, and members of God's family. Amen. So, in our relationship together, even though we came from different areas, we don't see each other as strangers anymore. We see each other as a citizen. You know, we talk of immigration, isn't it? So there is no immigrant among us. Because we are citizens of one kingdom. And then members of one family. And as members of different, as a citizen, we have been given a variety of gifts, which we will use to edify the body, to empower the body, to build one another. That's why God has given each one of us a gift. We have something to offer in our relationship as a member of Christ's body. We have something to offer. Nobody is idle in the church. We all have something, and whatever God has given you, whatever gift God has given you, not for yourself, for the purpose of building the whole community of Christ's family. Therefore, live in love and avoid immorality, and waste no time on fighting or doing unfruitful work. Because fighting and quarreling is unfruitful work. And be careful how you live your life as a family. As in Nigeria, we call it house girl, as a housemaid. Because in Nigeria, so you can hire a house girl to take care of your house, to do some dishwashing and whatever. There's that family relation. So Paul was saying, since we are members of God's family, we are out of the community, we must be careful how we live with our family, children and parents, husband and wife, workers and employers. Our relationship is different from the rest of the other communities. And therefore, be strong. When we live in a community from which we came out, we have to be very strong. We have to be very careful. We have to be aware. So there should be no other quarreling even between us or fighting on some of those little things. Because our major problem, he said, is not blood and flesh. When he said our difficulty in the way we live is not human being, we see blood and flesh. So our enemy is not all of us. Because each person that God has created is your brother. He's created or she's created in the image of God. So he cannot be your enemy. Your brother cannot, you may have misunderstanding, quarreling with your family, but they can never be your enemy. And therefore he said, these are not our enemies. Our enemies are, he said, rulers, principalities, powers, demonic forces. Those are our enemies. And therefore, he was in prison. He knew how the army military, Roman military was standing with him. He was sometimes chained together with the military men who was guarding him. So here Paul was observing how those armies were well dressed, ready for battle. And so he used that military terminology to describe, put on the armor of God. Be prepared for battle. I text the team of the message, prepare for bad day. Well, if it's a battle, it's a bad day. Some people can say, prepare for a battle. You can put it like that. Or spiritual warfare. You can put it like that. But it's a bad day. And Paul used that military terminology, the military dress that we should wear. Not a gun. Not the armor of a Roman army. Because we are not going to fight first. That one is used for physical fighting. But our enemy are invisible. That's the problem we have. And when you fight invisible enemy, it's the most difficult war. Because you can't see. If it's easy to see, it would have been easy to crush it, even put a bomb on him. But our enemy is invisible. So, what is this invisible enemy that we have to fight? Paul called it evil days. If you remember his letter, to Timothy, second, he told Timothy, be aware, a terrible day is coming. When people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, haters of God, brutal, ungrateful, children haters of their parents. She described a terrible situation of human life situation as an evil day. So Paul talk about evil day, which threatens our moral and spiritual character. So these powers, it's not like when we talk about power and principalities, it is actually literally means government. Those in political office. But if we talk about political office, you can quickly say, well, then Trump must be our enemy. It's not like that. Because Trump is a human being. So a human being is not our enemy. But there are systems, there are forces, there are thinkings that challenge our life of living. And those are those things that we must be guarding against. If you remember the story of Jesus after he was baptized, he was taken to the desert. There he faced an enemy. If you are the Son of God, change this stone to become a bread. And Jesus used the words of God to counteract that particular enemy. So our enemy, these principalities, is actually some of those behaviors, some of those systems, commercial system. And it may be political, but not the human being, but the system that is actually challenging and tempting us in our life, in our relationship, are some of those principalities. Because devil is very good in using our thought, our mind, and our relationship to create a conflict between us. So that when we create a conflict between us, we begin to fight one another in these small issues. This kind of thinking and fighting and quarreling over little things derail us away from the way of God, and we are completely outside our call as a Christian. We cease to live as part God expected us to live. And David is happy with this. And therefore, the quarreling between ourselves, we are only fighting one another for nothing. Because the real issue is not. Church of the Brethren, as I said, we have been going all around. And what I've been hearing is that people are fighting. People are saying Church of the Brethren is going to die. Or the church is not like that. And they ask me, well, maybe you need to bring a missionary now from Church of the Brethren to come here. Well, it's not like that. I don't see church dying. I only see church with challenges. As much as we have challenges in Nigeria, we have Islam as our own challenge. Our principalities, our president, who when he was elected, he said, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill Nigeria. Corruption is not a physical, but is a character, a behavior. That's part of our principalities. Boko Haram, they are physical, but the way they have traumatized people, put people in a difficult situation, these are principalities creating problems for Nigerians how to live. If somebody living in a situation like that is facing all kinds of temptation. When she was talking about some other girls, her stories, some girls, some women are tempted to sell their body because of the situation in which they found themselves. So principalities are playing in our emotion, playing in our character. If it's here, Paul putting the whole armor of God is the words of God. And these armors are listed about 8 of them. He talks about belt. What is the belt? Do you remember? There you are land with a belt of truth. You know, the devil, the father of liars, is who? The devil. The truth will not allow the devil to come to you if you always speak the truth and stand on the truth. So truth is very important. It's not a physical weapon, but it's a character, a behavior. Then you talked about helmet. Helmet is cover your brain. once we are damaged, and you know, our brain is our mind, there is our thinking, there is our thought. This need to be protected. Our mind and our thought need to be protected from the influence of those false teaching and false doctrine on all kinds of stories we've been sharing that actually dominate your mind. Sometimes you share them in political propaganda, sometimes you watch them on TV, sometimes we see them in the internet. All kinds of rubbish coming in your mind. If you are not careful, they will shoot your brain and destroy your brain and destroy your thought. And therefore, put on the helmet of salvation. You have been saved. Protect your thought from all these kind of problems. And then put the shoe. And in the shoe is peace. Put in anything that will allow you to preach the gospel of peace. Anything. Anything that avoid you from talking about God, talking about peace, remove that. Boko Haram is an obstacle to talking about peace in Nigeria. Such are things we have to remove. The thought about revenging, the thought about killing others, that is what we have to struggle to remove. Because it will not allow us to go and preach the gospel of peace. And therefore, any thought that stops you from talking about the words of God, talking about the gospel, remove that. And anything that encourages you, gives you passion to share the word of God, take that. That will be your shoe. So we have no time, but these things are listed there. But most important, our fighting, we must realize, is not with one another. Our fighting is fighting the thought, fighting the culture, fighting the wrong teachings, because that's most of the challenges facing community here in the US. From the Enlightenment period, which exploded modernism, science, people have been confused. The Darwinism. It is what has confused the society. I'm not against being happy. It is good to be like US with a rich country, good government, good health care, good road, and security. I think this is what God intended us. I think for you here, you should be the most grateful to God than any other. We can question God, why have you, God, put us in Africa with all these problems? We have a reason to ask God that question. But for you, your only way is to say, oh, thank you, Lord. You have given us this wonderful country. You have provided all the food we need. We can sleep very well. We can travel for hundreds of kilometers without fearing of armed robber or Boko Haram attacking us or kidnapper kidnapping us. So God, thank you for giving us this country. So you should be the most committed in appreciating and thanking God. But the devil knows how he will not be happy if you can do like that, and therefore he incites some kind of thought, some kind of things that you will be destabilized, fighting one another, criticizing one another, condemning one another. That will make him happier. And therefore, Paul is saying these are the things we must be watchful for and focus on God. If we don't focus on the words of God and put it our primary, we cannot defend ourselves from those things. It's not just one day Sunday coming, but every day. Because according to Paul, prepare, stand like army. Army is always ready with his weapon. Forever. Because he's not saying prepare and go to war. He said prepare in case when the devil comes with his attack, you will be able to stand it. And therefore, you must have the words of God all the time. You must read the Bible all the time. Study the Bible all the time. Memorizing the word of God all the time. That better your relationship. Because if you recognize yourself, I am a child of God. Because if you read it, Paul said, since you are a child of God, be imitator of your father. So you are now living in this planet as a child of God. People will see how God's children are living. If there is anything good in heaven, they will begin to see it in us, because this is how the people in heaven are living. So our living with family, our living with the church members, our living with the community should be enticing people that this is the community I want you to be in, because these are true people of God. Because here they can find the truth. Here they can find acceptance. There will be no discrimination among them. Because they are children of God. So brothers and sisters, let's appreciate God for where you are. And not some of you are condemning yourself. I heard it. People are saying, oh, this country, we are materialism too much. Did God make a mistake by giving you all this? It's not a mistake. He loved you. He wanted his children. Remember when Jesus came? He said, I came to give life abundant. And life abundant means you will have everything happy to remind you that, oh, your Father is taking proper care of you. God did not intend any of us to suffer. It's because there is a sin in the world. There are some people who disobey God. That's why they inflict suffering on some of us. It's not what God has intended. And therefore, U.S., brethren, especially Church of the Brethren, we need to stop quarreling on some of those little things. Let us remember our call and our identity. We are God's family. Let the other cultures do it, but not you, because you have now a Father who is in heaven, God. So you're supposed to behave your Father. And anytime you live your life, do the business of your Father. May God bless us.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you. As we prepare to sing our last hymn for this morning, thank you, Dr. Dolly, for bringing that message. I would like to call Ashton and Sarah forward to take a special offering again for the Center for Caring, Empowerment, and Peace initiatives that Dr. Rebecca has founded that support those that are suffering in Nigeria for many, many reasons. If you would, while the offering is being taken, please turn to page 14 in your hymnals.